Alright guys, welcome to another section of our math class. Today we are going to look at this topic, mensuration. So mensuration, whenever you hear of mensuration, it's basically about shapes, different shapes in mathematics. So we are going to look at calculating the volume of some shapes in mathematics, but in this particular video I'm going to concentrate on a frustum. Okay, a frustum is just like a bucket. So when you see your bucket, how to calculate the volume of the liquid in your bucket. All right, so how to calculate the volume of your bucket. So look at this question. This is the kind of question you see in WAEC almost every year, and also in JAM. So this is find the capacity in liter of a bucket, 24 cm in diameter at the top, 16 cm in diameter at the bottom, and 20 cm deep. Now when you see a question like this, the first thing you are expected to do is to be able to represent this question in a diagram, and you being able to represent it in a diagram, that already carries its own mark. Now when you say bucket, you already know how a bucket looks like. So this is something that looks like a bucket, right? So this is how a bucket looks like. Now this is find the capacity in liter of a bucket, 24 cm in diameter. This diameter, the line that divides the circle into two equal parts, is the diameter, is 24 cm, right? And then that is at the top, then 16 cm in diameter at the bottom. The downside of it, this is the bottom. They say the diameter, that is the line that divides the circle into two equal parts, is 16 cm. So here becomes 16 cm. Now note that this is very important. If the diameter is 24 cm, the radius is going to be what? 12 cm. You remember radius is half of diameter, right? And for this one, the radius is going to be 8 cm. Okay, all right, in diameter, okay, at the bottom, right, and 20 cm deep. It means the depth of the bucket is 20 cm. So from the top to the bottom is 20 cm. You being able to draw this alone has mark on itself. Now it is almost impossible to calculate the volume of a bucket in mathematics. The formula for calculating the volume of bucket alone is not there. So what you need to do is that you will project this so you can form a cone. You know that we have the formula for calculating a cone, right? So what you do is when you extend this, you extend it, you now form a cone that looks like this. Okay, so you've now formed a cone that looks like this. So at this point now, from this place where the bucket stops to where your cone ends is another height. Name it x. I hope you are getting me. Now we want to know the value of x first. Just follow me carefully. We want to know the value of x. Now for us to know the value of x by comparing two cones or two triangles. Remember, from here to here we can say it is one, then from here to here is the big one, right? So we can now say that x, right, x over the radius of the small cone. X is the height of this small cone. The radius of the small cone, which is 8 cm, over 8 should be equal to the height of the big cone. As this one now is the big cone, the height of it, which is x, this one, plus this 20. X plus 20. I hope you are following me. Divided by the radius of the big cone. The radius of the big cone is 12. 12. Are you getting it? Now, you have been able to form an equation. So to simplify this, you can use cross multiplication. You can also multiply the both side by the LCM of the denominators. Whichever one you use will work, right? So let us cross multiply. If you cross multiply, 8 will times everything in this side, x plus 20 equal to 12 will times everything here, which is just x. So we now have 12x, right? Open this bracket, we have 8x plus 8 times 2 is 16. We bring down the 0, okay, equal to 12x. At this point, we'll take LCM. The one that has x, bring it to this side. This one that does not have x, we can take it to this side. So bringing this to this side, since there is no sign here, it means that there is a positive sign there. So bringing this to this side now, we now have 8x. This crosses the sign of equality, changes to minus 12x equal to, here is plus. When this one crosses to this side, it will now change to minus 160. So when you subtract 8x minus 12x will give us minus 4x, which is equal to minus 160. So minus will cancel minus. 4 will divide this. That is, say, you can also say divide both sides by minus 4, right? So when you divide by minus 4, divide by minus 4, this minus will cancel this minus, this minus cancel minus 4 will cancel this 4, right? So 160 divided by 4, x will be equal to 40. Now we have gotten the height of the smaller cone that we projected. Okay, this smaller cone, we've gotten the height. Now note that there are two cones here. Now there are two cones. We have the big one and then we have the smaller one. All right, so to know the height of the big cone, that is from here to this point, we will now do the height of the big cone is x plus 20. Okay, where x has been gotten to be 40. So if you add it with 20, the height of the big cone now gives us what? 60. Okay, take note of this. Now at this point, remember, it is not x we are looking for. We are looking for the volume of this bucket. Now for us to get the volume of this bucket, we need to calculate the volume of this big cone minus the volume of this small cone, so we can now get the volume of the bucket. So see how it works. The volume of this big cone, remember the formula for calculating the volume of a cone. The formula is 1/3 per r square, then height. This is the volume. This is the formula for calculating the volume of a cone. So now at this point, we want to get the volume of the bucket. So what we'll do is we now have 1/3 per times the radius. The radius of the big cone is 12 cm. So we have 12 square times the height. The height of the big cone is what we have calculated is 60. So you have 60 here. Minus, it is when you now subtract the smaller side of it that you will get the bucket volume. So you subtract, now have the volume of the smaller cone per times the radius is 8. So we have 8 square times the height 40. That is the x. Okay. So now at this point, we can now solve this. So there are several methods to which you can solve this. All right. But let us use this simple one. So we can take we can factorize this. There is 1 over 3 here. There is 1 over 3 here. You take one of them. 1 over 3. There is pi here. There is pi here. You take 1 pi. Now, there is no longer any common value. So you can put in brackets. Right? And put in brackets. 12 squared is 144 times 60 minus 8 squared is 64 times 40. Okay, so you continue 1 over 3 pi 144 times 60. If you multiply it, you have 8,640 minus, if you multiply these two, you will have 2,560. You subtract it. When you subtract it, you now have, bring down this first. When you subtract, you now have 680. Now, note that the value of pi, can be taken as 3.142, right? So you multiply it with this, and then your final answer here becomes, when you multiply it, you will have a 6366 in cm volume. Now, at this point, this is our answer in cm volume, but they want us to get it in liter. So for you to get this in liter, all you need to do is just to divide it by 1000. So in liter, now have 6,366 divided by 1000. The point is here, right? You move it 3 places, 1, 2, 3, because of 3 zeros. So we now have 6.366. If you want to keep it to 3 significant figure, you have 6.37 in liter. So we can now say that the volume of water in this particular bucket is 6.37 liters. So that's the volume of water in that bucket. So we have an exercise here for you to practice. This is a jam question. You see, a bucket is 12 cm in diameter. At the top, this 12 cm in diameter is just like this 24 cm. 8 cm in diameter at the bottom is just like this 16 cm. All right, so you will divide them and get the radius. Okay, and 4 cm deep, just like this 24 cm. So calculate its volume. So you need to calculate the volume. You do the same thing, extend to get a full cone, and then from there you get the height of the smaller cone. You then calculate the volume of the big cone subtracted by the volume of the smaller cone, and then you have your final answer. I hope you find this very helpful. Please don't forget to subscribe and also turn on your notification bell to get more of our videos. Share to your friends that are preparing for WAEC and JAM. Thank you very much for today. Thank you. Bye.